Welcome to The Core Truth, everyone. This is Peter Hernandez, your host, and today I've got Alex Parker from Douglas Elliman here with me. We're going to talk about real estate. Good morning, Alex. How are you?
Good morning. I am outstanding. So honored to be here with you, sir. Thank you for having me.
It's so funny. I say we're going to talk about real estate. I mean, is anybody expecting anything else? I mean, seriously, when it comes to Alex Parker and Peter Hernandez, I mean, that is real estate personified. That's what we do. That's who we are.
Yes, sir.
So it's, they say we're not our jobs. Well, I might argue with that. Pretty funny.
I agree.
Pretty funny. So, Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, maybe how you got into real estate, what you did before, and maybe is anything that we should know about you?
You know what? Well, before real estate, I spent roughly about 20 years. I'm aging myself right now. My God, I spent 20 years in the retail, fashion and management sector.
Wow.
So worked
What
with
part
a lot
of that
of great
were you
companies.
in? What part of fashion were you in?
So we were in operations, buying, fulfillment, and then actually on sales. So I got to meet with the buyers, the vendors. I worked with Macy's, Nike, and Williams-Sonoma. So it was awesome to deal with fashion, both on the apparel and then the home fashion setup, because that's what Williams-Sonoma specialized in. Yeah. So
men and women's clothing and furniture.
And shoes.
And
yes,
shoes.
Sir.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
All over. So
and how did you like that? How did you like being in that industry?
I actually loved it because it's kind of similar. They always say real estate is a relationship business, and if you're doing the retail and fashion business right, you're developing relationships there, and that's kind of what we focused on in order to build our business, build sales, and expand. So I loved it. It was a great time.
Yeah. Where'd you grow up?
So we actually moved out to California when I was young. I'm originally from Long Island, and my folks got tired of the blizzards. So they moved to New Mexico, which they didn't know it snowed there too. So we went farther west to California, and that's how we ended up here, and grew up in Southern California since I was about 7 years old. So
nice. Yeah, I love that. Well, one of your favorite sayings is "Roger that." Now, that's a military saying, right?
Yes. So it's funny because I have we do have military in our family. Very proud of them. I actually did a short stint, but they found out I had asthma, and the captain of the Navy was like, "Sorry, we can't keep you on, buddy." And so after I got released, I actually that was my first job in retail with Macy's. And when you became in management, you were carrying around the walkie-talkie and the ear. And every time we were talking, I was just like, "Roger that." And it just stuck with me. And I've been doing it for over 20 years. So it's kind of my saying.
It's kind of your trademark. Do you do it with your clients too?
I do. I've had clients give me shirts at closings or whatnot that actually say "Roger that" or "Make it happen."
I love it.
So
I love it.
Yes, they know that's us.
Well, I know. One thing you really focus on with your team and your group and your business in real estate is your sphere of influence, and you're constantly expanding it. Talk to us a little bit about, first of all, why you think sphere of influence is important. Secondly, who's in your sphere of influence? And thirdly, how do you communicate and stay in touch and expand it even, your sphere of influence?
Sure. Well, for us, when we got into the business, because you always preach, even on our coaching, is there's so many different avenues to build your business. And I wasn't the best cold caller or door knocker at the time, but I had a great sphere of influence. I had people I worked with, past colleagues, friends, family. And when they heard we were getting into the real estate business, it's amazing to watch or feel their positivity, and they want you to succeed in that business. So when they heard we got into real estate, it's like, yes, you're a realtor. They understood how Catherine, my wife, who's also my partner, and I worked, and how hard we worked, and so they trusted us right off the bat, which we were very honored to have that right when you're starting out.
So you had a good sphere coming into the business, and I'm assuming
Yes, sir.
from your fashion, maybe from friends, family. I mean, like, what do you consider sphere of influence? Like, what are the
You know what? I know that a lot of times at first they said it was your friends and family, but I mean, we have friends, family, acquaintances, colleagues. We just have such a huge network. My wife always laughs because I talk to strangers all the time. I walk
Mhm.
in stores and malls, and I like to talk. I'm out there. How you doing? And it just develops relationships. So for me,
Do you drop all
when
these new contacts into your sphere as you meet them? Is that how
yes,
you're constantly growing it?
if there's a conversation that gets connected, or we develop some type of small friendship right off the bat, or even just a communication,
Mhm.
we start staying in touch, and we don't even have to talk about real estate. It's just it organically comes up.
Mhm. Interesting,
And
interesting.
yes, and so yes, just like you said, we drop
Mhm.
them in, we stay in touch. They get info from us. We meet up for coffees or lunches or whatever the case may be. And again, the conversation just continues to organically come up. It's not even like a pressured sales. They know we're there to help them.
Well, a lot of real estate agents, um, focus on trying to get new business, whether it's cold calling, door knocking, sitting in open houses, they're always on the hunt for new business. And yet, all the NAR studies, all the coaches, everybody says that 80% or more of your business will come from your sphere.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you think it is that A, agents tend not to focus on their sphere to really nurture that business, and they're always out on the hunt for new business? And I mean, why do you think that dynamic exists?
I hear it a lot when we're doing some of our training calls or whatnot. They feel like they don't want to come off too salesy when they're talking to people they know. And I don't feel like I come off salesy at all. We always have a way to connect with our sphere without having to sell ourselves. They know we do real estate. Anybody we meet, they're on our social media. They get our follow ups throughout the year. We stay in contact over phone, text, so they know we do real estate. But when we're connecting with them and genuinely finding out what they're interested in and what they want, again, the conversation of real estate organically always comes. So there's no salesy pitch
Mhm.
to them, and I think they just have to figure out a way to just be themselves and not always feel like they have to pitch to the people that they know in order to get some type of business because it will come.
Right, right. No, you're right. And I think that it's just interesting to me how difficult it is sometimes to pick up the phone and call somebody in your sphere and say, "Hey, it's Peter Hernandez. I know we haven't talked in a while. I just want to check in and see how you're doing." You know what I
Yes,
mean? It's like, I think those calls would be well received, but for some reason you're afraid to make them. And I don't know why that is, but it's probably the most important call a real estate agent can make. Don't you agree?
I do, and I was telling my wife because 2 days ago I went to a shopping mall where they had a Macy's at. One of my first managers back in 2002, she's working out of there, and she was one of my follow up. And I went to go see how she was doing. I caught her on her shift. We went to go grab coffee, and we were just finding out how she's doing. How's her family doing? Her husband's going to be retiring soon. She's going to be retiring soon. And then boom, guess what? Her daughter is going to be looking to buy a house. Her son is going to be looking to buy a house. And
Wow.
I knew her kids when they were younger, and they're in their early 30s now, wanting to make real estate moves. I
Yeah.
didn't go in to pitch myself or anything. I just wanted to
Right.
see how she was doing, and it comes
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah. Is your wife equally as outgoing as you are? Does she like dig up the business like you do?
you know what? So Catherine is actually stronger in contacting strangers, cold calling, and that type of deal. She, you
Oh,
know,
so she
in
likes to
her
go. So she's kind of the new business part of the
yes,
partnership, and then you're kind of like nurturing all the existing business and relationships that you already have.
exactly,
I
and
love
that's
that.
literally how we have it split up too.
That's fabulous. I like that. I like that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, I know another thing that you do that's been really positive for your business is you're a member of professional networking groups. Talk to
Yes,
us
sir.
about that and how many groups you're members of, and
So we had gotten into coaching,
Mhm.
and I coach with the awesome Dave Worth, and he one of the things that he noticed from us was that we do a great job of building relationships. And so he's like, "Why are you focused on?" When he was talking to me, he was like, "Why are you focused on calling, what they call cold business? Go out there and meet people like you normally do, and do it in a professional setting." And
Mm.
so, not only are we like I'm part of a few professional networks outside of the residential real estate, but there's a commercial real estate meetup that we got invited to. We're the
Mhm.
only residential real
Oh,
estate
wow.
agents in that meetup. My wife is part of two women's groups, one which is a major group in the Temecula Valley, and another where she actually became a historian in and is part of their panel. And so it's just getting involved in the city, meeting new people. And it's not getting in those to pitch everybody, it's getting in those to help out. And when we
Mhm.
build those relationships, same way we did with our sphere of influence, business will eventually come from that. So
Yeah.
we're just finding things that we like to do, and we let it
How
go.
how often do these networking meetings happen? Are they like every week, every month, or what do they normally
Monthly.
monthly?
Well, yeah, so we're part of
How do they
also
run? I mean, are they like lunches, dinners, or in
one is a dinner meetup, which we like. It's at this great Italian restaurant that one of the city commercial real estate meetups are, and appetizers, food, and I mean, we get to network with banking officials, the mayor,
Oh, wow.
developers. It's a great networking field.
Mhm.
And then one of the main ones that my wife goes to is a lunch that they go to monthly, and they share what's happening in their industry, any needs that they have. It's powerful women getting together and just trying to expand their business. So
Yeah, I
lunches
love that.
and dinners, which is always great.
And then does your business come out of that at meetings, or do people call you later, or do you follow up later with individuals? How do you nurture those relationships?
So it does happen actually after the meeting. So we schedule meetups. I love to schedule coffees. So I'll be doing coffee with some of the business professionals that we meet with.
Mhm.
Catherine as well. We're part of a winery that's near where we live. So a lot of times we'll invite them out for a brunch or a lunch and kind of go over different business objectives that we're going over. So a lot of networking happens outside of the meetings as well through one-on-ones and
Is
coffees and
is
that type
is
of
it
deal.
kind of like a quid pro quo? Like, let's just say I'm a realtor and you're an accountant. Like we just try to figure out how I can support your business and how you can support my business, or is it more just are you as an individual looking to buy or sell, or I mean, or both, or I mean, how do those conversations go like afterwards at the coffee meeting?
It's kind of both, but it's also a lot of times we'll try to search for a professional that has a service that we feel would benefit our clients. And so it gives us something to connect with that business professional about. And then
Yeah.
it also gives us information to take back to our sphere of influence and assist them in safeguarding their investments or whatever the case may be. So
Got
it's
it.
at first we always look for a service that might benefit the people that we know.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
And would you say it's been successful? Have you been getting deals out of this, or
it's been very successful, and it's been very helpful. So when we're able to take this information and give it to our clients, not everybody knows that they should have their home in a trust or how a trust works or 1031 exchanges. We have a great friend of ours who does investing, is starting his portfolio.
Mhm.
And we got him in connection with the 1031 exchange that we met through these groups. And it's been amazing for him. So
Mhm.
finding these services for our clients has been great. And then, yes, the business comes because the business professionals see how much work we're doing to care for our current clients,
Mhm.
that they feel very confident in referring business our way as well.
Mhm.
So
Got it.
almost like a ripple effect when you
Yeah, I
go
can
out
see
there
that.
looking for the help.
So to me, it's like you're giving value, you're finding value, and you're communicating value, all of it. So it's all
Yes,
around
sir.
value and service. I love it. I love that. So around the company here at Element, everybody knows I have a famous saying called lean in, and nobody leans in more to you than you do, Alex. And I think it's helped your business quite a bit. And there's a couple ways I've watched you lean in. You're very, very active on our role play calls. You participate in podcasts all the time. Even when you're not, you're visible there. People know you in the company. The other thing you do is you e-blast the company a lot. You're letting everybody, all the agents know what markets you work in. You're letting all the agents know your areas of expertise, and you're constantly communicating that, reminding that. You're really trying to leverage the Elliman brokerage. And tell me how you're doing that, and if it's effective and if it's working for you. Is it helping you in any way in terms of, your sales, maybe even just your career? And I mean, what would you advise yourself to do more of based on how you're leveraging Element?
I think, well, I have a huge love for this brand. When I got licensed, I knew I was going to be Douglas Elliman some way or another. And Elliman actually wasn't in California at that time yet. So thankfully, they did come to California because it saved an argument of us moving to the East Coast. But seeing how much I've been in other brokerage models, and the way Elliman constructs their network. I mean, how do I explain? It's just so easy to be able to go to Los Angeles, learn about what's happening in that market, network with those agents, find out what their clients are looking for. There's so many times where they have clients that are looking for homes, but they just don't have the budget for that immediate area. My wife and I and our team, we service a certain area that isn't heavily filled with Element agents. And so therefore, the referral comes to us from the outside markets because their clients are looking for a certain budget. So leaning in is, like, for us, it's making sure we're at every meeting that we can make, every event that Element puts on, because Element digs into these events and puts you into places where you're going to meet clientele or network or business. And that's what we love so much about it. And honestly, yes, it has propelled our business, because about 50% of our business for 2024 is from our Element network.
Amazing. Do you enjoy doing podcasts? Do you enjoy coaching and training agents?
I do. I love it. I love partnering with new agents when they come into business, because I love what I do. So whenever you love what you do, it's really easy to talk about. Maybe I talk about it too much sometimes.
No, I don't think so. Do you like the sales side more, or do you think you'd like to be in management at some point?
At some point, I would love to be in management, because I do love the coaching piece, the developing, and then watching their business grow and being able to help them do that. I've been blessed to have awesome coaches and mentors. And I've got to be honest, like, I've gotten so much training and insight from you, from Brad, from our coach Dave, from everybody. Everybody's just willing to give knowledge, and that's something that's different here that you don't see in other brokerage models. And I would love to be a part of that culture in the future. That's the goal.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. So let me ask you this, because you kind of touched on it, but I would love to get your definition. So how would you define the culture of Douglas Elliman?
I would say it's I'm looking for the word, encompassing. I feel like, and what we noticed when we first came to Douglas Elliman is that Elliman approaches the real estate market different than what our competitors do, which is why Elliman is at the top, because it's looked at. Oh man, I had the great definition for it, but it's all encompassing, because the agents, you always hear people say, oh, a family this and a family that. When you're at Elliman, when I go to the LA office, I've got so many connections out there. It's just a great feeling. I feel like that is my Elliman family. When I go to San Diego, it's the same thing. Pasadena, whichever office I'm going to. We even went to the Las Vegas meeting. It was so inviting, because Elliman wants to grow. They want their agents to succeed. And so I feel like you feel that every time, no matter which event, which office you're going to, that same culture. So I think it's a consistency in the culture of what Element's built, and how they expand. That culture seems to stay intact. And that's one of the things that we love.
Yeah, me too. How would you describe the brand? That's always an interesting question. What is the brand, in your opinion, of Elliman?
I think it's and I think it's superiority. I think it's we are we are different from any of our competitors because of what we do and how we do it. And that was the main thing that stuck out to me when we were looking to join Element. Because, like I said, when I was getting licensed, it wasn't these other brands I was looking at. I was introduced to Element probably the same way a lot of West Coasters were, and it was through watching Million Dollar Listing.
Mhm.
But I remember that first episode when Frederick was moving his boxes and going into a Douglas Elliman office. And he looked around and he said, "This is where we're going to make it happen." And then they started building their business from there. I think Elliman has that force to just be amazing because they are already amazing in what they do. And it
Mhm.
allows their agents to just excel as long as they're putting in the work.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Um, Now, we're going to move to something else, which is interesting because we're going to talk about the success you're having with expired listings. And one might
Yes,
say,
sir.
why would you do expired listings in a low inventory market? But you seem to find them and you seem to convert them. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So we do, and it's funny that that part is a major part of what Catherine gets to handle as well. But we approach it a little bit differently. So it's we have certain market areas that we work in, and so we're looking for the expireds only in those areas, and it allows us to not only do the regular call, but we do note cards, we do the phone calls, the video text, the video emails. We're giving them the same information through our e-blast that we give to our sphere of influence to keep them educated.
Mhm.
It's different touch points that we're able to do that's kind of separating us,
Got
and
it.
it's the actual pieces that we're giving them. And again, one of the things that separates Element from their competitors, we went to one of these expired listings, and the way we're coached and taught how to treat our business, it's not just about selling that house, it's about selling the town, the city, the lifestyle. And so
Mhm.
we engulf ourselves into those networks that we can learn about, like we're part of the city halls, we meet with the mayors, we meet with the planners. And so when we can take this information to a seller and they know we understand that market, it's a whole different type of conversation that we're having than what they've had with our competitors that might be coming up for the listing.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it
And
briefly.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you have something else you wanted to add to that?
Oh no, I was just because it kind of ties it. So when we look for those expireds, being able to come in with the type of reports that Element provides
Got it.
in connection with Jonathan Miller, the Element magazine, how we market, it just blows away the competition and it actually helps the seller make an easier decision, which in our favor, it's going our way.
Yeah. No, no, I like that. Well, within that, you talked a lot about client follow-up, and I know the Parker Group has a very enhanced client follow-up program.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what does that mean? I mean, I think everybody probably thinks they're good at it, but what would you say about that? How would you describe your follow-up plan?
We try to be creative, but we try to ensure that we're staying in front of the people that know us constantly. Because you always hear those stories that agents are like, "Oh, I can't believe my sister or my friend they went this," and it's like, well, have you had a conversation with them recently? Do they know you're still in real estate? And the answer is usually no, or yeah, I send something to them once a month or once a quarter. And so for us, way back when we first started, we took this Brian Buffini training where they talk about sphere of influence building or whatnot. And my wife was like, you know what, we're going to put this thing on steroids. And we did and never looked back. And we're trying
Mm,
to just continuously evolve it. So our
right.
sphere of influence, our past clients, they pretty much see us probably about 4 to 6 times a month
Yeah.
on top of following us on social media and
Wow.
seeing what we do. And so, and we stay consistent on that, which is why if it's not an Element network referral, it's
Mhm.
usually a sphere of influence or referral from our sphere of influence that's driving our business.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
yeah,
I know as part of your follow-up plan, you leverage the Element tools. You leverage Studio
yes.
Pro. Talk to us about Studio Pro for a little bit, and what are the elements of that platform that you like the most, that you use the most?
Studio Pro has been amazing since they brought it in because it allows us to what I call like batch content. So I get to create quite a bit of information and send outs for our clients ahead of time. I get to schedule it out. It has video input. So I'm able to, it's not just sending photos or text. I can actually create videos
Mhm.
for our sphere of influence to verbally, and they'll see me in a video going over certain things, and it's just adding a more personal touch. And then of course it has the element marketing in there, and there is no one out there marketing the way Element does. And so when you have that consistent branding, they're seeing you on video, they're getting the information from you. We collaborate with our vendors and professional networks that we meet, and they too can put in video and information. Studio
Mhm.
Pro just makes creating that and sending that out so much easier. So,
Mhm. Interesting. That's great.
yes.
So what's the future for the Parker Group? Are you going to expand into other markets? What's the growth plan, and how many are on your team? And talk to us a little bit
So
about that.
that is our goal. However, I always have too much of a big, or I think big picture first, and I don't do the details very well, which is why coaching has been so amazing.
Yeah.
So we're, my wife and I are both licensed in California. My dream is to always sell on the East Coast. My coach knows that. And his goal was, he said, look, we've got to make sure all of your processes, all of your work systems are in place in California, and you're building the business that you want, so that when you expand to a different market, it's not only you can focus on learning that market and growing there versus trying to build systems and start over. It's more about taking these systems and moving them and keeping those going, so it helps you build a business
Mhm.
quicker out there. So yes, in the future, our goal, we would love to sell in different markets, and it's mainly because we'd like to invest, like in the Nevada market. We love Nevada's right next door. My wife and I have eyes on investing there in the very near
Mhm.
future, and so that's definitely a market we're interested in. And of course, at some point in time, possibly going back to my home state, which would be amazing because I love it out there. But my wife freezes if it drops below 60 degrees, so we stay in California.
Oh, wow. So she's like your parents
Yeah.
in that way, right?
I'm
Well,
the
that's
only
my
cold
wife
weather
too.
person.
Carrie's from Boston, and I can't
Okay.
even. We don't even go on ski trips because she hates the cold so much.
I totally understand. But it was funny. We went to New York, and when you're walking out there and bundled up, you don't even feel the cold. You're already
I I
sweating because you're walking everywhere, you know?
I like it actually. I mean, I do. I we were in the Hudson Valley, this winter while Faith was at school in New York there at Vassar, and they had a
Okay.
creek. We had a creek out in front of our house, and I went and jumped in the creek. It was about 40-degree water or maybe colder,
Oh,
and I
man.
got in it and just it felt, the old cold plunge. I just went for a
Yes.
real, organic one, and it felt so great. And I thought, wow, this is really fun. Alex, thank you so
That's
much
awesome.
for being on the Core Truth with me. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me. Man, that went by so fast, but I'm honored to be on here. And thank you again for all of your wisdom, your coaching, and your direction, because we're excelling because of you and everybody at Element that's taking their time to help us and train us and get us there. So thank you.
I wish I could take the credit, but it's all you. Thank you, everybody, for
Thank
being on the Core Truth today, and thank you, Alex, for being on with me.